What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Herb G. Back at it again with another podcast. I don't know how long this podcast will be. Might be short, might be long, but I appreciate everybody out there who sticks to the end. Because not many of you guys, not even many of you guys watching my videos, but that's neither here nor there. But again, I said this last video, I'll say it again. I don't have a particular schedule, or I don't have a particular time frame of when I will be putting out these podcasts. I'm still getting accustomed to the new things, new year, you know what I'm saying? Things are happening, things are changing. So I don't want to commit to a schedule or a timing of when I would make these videos. I just want to do them whenever I want, I guess. I just want that freedom right now. Hopefully, I will try my best to be consistent and be of value. Hopefully that this is valuable to some people out there that are interested in Bitcoin. I don't know how much reach I have right now. I don't even know if my videos are still being shadow banned, because I know they were at some point. But it seems like now Bitcoin is mostly a neutral subject to talk about, as well as, crypto and CBDCs and digital finance in general. So I know there's like certain topics that people are just not interested in. I get that. I don't understand why they wouldn't be interested in something that could create generational wealth. But that's just a learning curve that people have to go through, or people have to want to go through. And it's just kind of hard and just kind of disappointing. I can't even say disappointing. It's just that if you don't know what you don't know, then you will never know what you don't know. And it's kind of like Alex Hormozi says, like, the things that you don't know are costing you millions of dollars every day, kind of thing. I don't know if you guys watch Alex or whatever, but he sold a software company. He built a gym business, a multi-gym business where it's kind of like franchising businesses. Yeah, he franchised gym locations, and then he created a software and sold that. An educational business software, and sold that company. But basically, he's a multimillionaire, and he says the only thing that's stopping you from making money is the information that you don't know. And so it is what it is. I don't know how people come into Bitcoin. Well, I do understand it. I just don't understand why people don't believe in it, and I guess that's why I'm here. But this might be a rant. This might be a tangent. Hopefully y'all still here with me, because the algorithm says, or the metrics say that people only watch my video about 1 or 2 minutes in. So we'll see how this goes. Today, I want to talk about I won't say the number one reason. I would say the third reason. So I'll just say this: whenever people come into contact with Bitcoin, or whenever somebody talks about Bitcoin, it's about 3 reasons of why they don't believe in it, or they don't believe that it can work. Number 1 reason is that they don't understand it. They don't get it. They don't understand how it works. They're clueless. They think it's rocket science. That's the number 1 reason why people don't get into Bitcoin. Number 2 reason is that it's a scam. They hear it's a scam. They hear it's MLM. They hear it's a Ponzi scheme. All the negative terms that you can think of when it comes to finance. Fraud. They think it's a fraud. All that. They think Bitcoin is all that. And it's really not. So that's the number 2 reason. But the number 3 reason, and I feel like this is almost like the knee-jerking reaction, or the just the automatic reaction or the automatic reply that some people give when they don't want to learn about Bitcoin, or not even that they want to, or just that they just dismiss it. The number 3 reason is they say that it has no intrinsic value. And I'm just kind of tired of that excuse. I've heard it over and over again, but that one, I guess it takes the cake for me, because what does that even mean? First of all, like when I first heard it, I was like, you're just trying to sound educational to make it seem like, okay, I'm smarter than you, so you can't tell me what to invest in, or you can't tell me about something outside of the traditional finance system. So I know better than you, so don't try to sell me on Bitcoin, kind of thing. And that's just so arrogant and so ignorant at the same time that it pisses me off. And I don't understand why people use that term. But we'll go ahead. I have my laptop here. You guys can't see, right? I just want to go ahead and actually look up the definition of intrinsic or intrinsic value. So it says belonging naturally, essential. That's what intrinsic means, right? So let's go with intrinsic value definition. Intrinsic value is the true fundamental worth of an asset, distinct from its fluctuating market price determined by its underlying financial health or inherent qualities, representing what a rational buyer would pay based on its long-term potential or for options, the immediate profit if exercised. It's assessed through analysis like DCF, or discounted cash flow for stocks, or by comparing strike price to market price for options, revealing if an asset is undervalued or overvalued. I don't understand how it says in the first sentence, distinct from its fluctuating price, market price, determined by its underlying financial health, cash flow, earnings, or inherent qualities. But then it goes to say it's assessed through an analysis like discounted cash flow for stocks, or by comparing strike price to market prices for options. I don't get the correlation. I thought we're supposed to determine the value outside of its price. But the price seems like it's still affecting the value of the asset within the same definition. So to go a little further, definition in finance: the inherent value of a company or stock, calculated using fundamentals like earnings, cash flows, and growth potential, ignoring market sentiment. Okay, so I guess they're saying ignoring what people think about it. It just goes by its earnings, cash flows, and growth potential. Okay. Often uses models like DCF, discounted cash flow, asset-based valuation, or residual income, looking at future profits relative to cost of capital, to find asset priced below their true worth. Okay, right? They go with options trading and then ethics and philosophy. I guess the ethics and philosophy feel more like it makes more sense to me. So in ethics and philosophy, value an item possesses in itself or for its own sake, not for what it can get you. Okay. And then an example, happiness is often considered intrinsically valuable, while things that bring happiness are instrumentally valuable. Okay, I get that. So happiness has intrinsic value. A job, it could either bring you happiness or it can bring you pain or unhappiness, because a job is a physical thing or whatever. So to me, in this instance, we're trying to figure out what Bitcoin in and of itself is as an asset, not for what it can get you, right? Right. And so a lot of people, they automatically say, "Oh, it's not like a stock, it's not an asset because it doesn't create money, it doesn't create cash flow, it can't give you a residual income." And for the life of me, I don't understand why people think this way, because Bitcoin is money. Like, that's just the simplest explanation. You don't have to read anything. You don't have to research a lot. Yes, you have to research for conviction. But in order to understand Bitcoin, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to major in computer science. You don't have to know a lot. All you need to know is that it's money. And this is the thing that it's so mind-boggling that people don't understand why Bitcoin is money. It's just money. And so I kind of want to compare it. I guess this is kind of left field, but not really. Y'all already know what happened in 2020. And if you paid attention, you'd realize that the pharmaceutical companies, the hospitals, and the doctors were paid for how many V shots they can administer. Like, that's not a secret. You know what I mean? That's not like a conspiracy theory. It's an actual fact. So they tried to get as many people juiced up as they could because they got a kickback from it. Okay? So the V shots had instrumental value, right? So the formula inside of the V shots is that's what had the cure, quote unquote. That's what intrinsic value looks like. Does that make sense? I think I'm being fair in saying that. So because you created this formula, this cure, it has intrinsic value, even though, what was it, 60% still caught it afterwards, caught the C word. So it wasn't very effective, but it still created a market. I don't want to say a market, but it still created people to get it. It still created ways for hospitals and pharmaceutical companies to create a profit at the end of the day. So nobody talks about that and how intrinsic that is, and the intrinsic value that is, but they want to say that Bitcoin doesn't have any intrinsic value. I don't. My point is that they were not effective. They still weren't effective, but they made trillions of dollars off of it. You know what I mean? And Bitcoin can actually, it goes up in value. It increases in value over time since 2009. You can go back and look this up. But it has no intrinsic value. I just don't, for the life of me, I can't understand if something doesn't have a value at all. Right? You're saying that it doesn't have intrinsic value. That means it doesn't have value at all. How can something that started from zero or even below zero in 2009 raise in price, raise in value of over $100,000 15 years later? I don't really get, if there's no value, how can it create value? And it's just, you could say it's Beanie Babies, it's tulips, it's just a craze, it's just a trend that everybody got into. But for 15 years, like for 16 years, Beanie Babies started in 95, 94, and it lasted about 97, 98. Actually, let's look that up. I have right here. How long did the Beanie Baby craze last? Late 1990s, fueled by manufacturer scarcity on online hype, especially around 97, 98, began a significant decline in 99 when prices for retired toys didn't rise as expected. So, all in all, the frenzy, which saw them sell for thousands, lasted 5 to 7 years in its most intense form. 5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years, in 15, 16 years, 5 to 7 years, 16 years, 17 years. Bitcoin started in 2009 and it hasn't gone to zero yet. I just wish somebody could make that make sense. Like, even people on like, even I've seen the naysayers, I've seen the bears. And if you don't know what a bear is, it's just like people who think the price is going to go down, and a bull is people who think the price is going to go up. I've seen interviews, I've seen people talk about it like, you know, normal finance gurus, people that are well versed in money and have been working in traditional markets for decades. And they keep saying, oh, once people find out that it has no intrinsic value, or once people realize that it's a greater fool's theory, or once people see the scam for what it is, when they can't get a higher price for when they bought in, that's when the price will go to zero. And I'm just kind of like, how can the price go to zero when we have 5 million coins that will never be moved? 5 million lost coins. How can we go to zero when the BlackRock and Vanguard and Fidelity are buying up tens of thousands of Bitcoin every day for their clients at that, not even for themselves, for their clients? I don't get it. I don't get why they don't see what I see. So, in that, let me keep going. What I see. So let me talk about what I see and why I'm here. Or not even why I'm here, but just more the fact of what I see in Bitcoin and its future, right? Bitcoin is valuable to me, not only because it's outside of traditional markets, it's outside of the traditional, finance. You can own it in self-custody. You can own it on your own without anybody knowing. And it's not that's the thing that people kind of like stray away from, or they're kind of hesitant, or they think, oh, it's going to be illegal someday, or they're going to ban it or something like that. We're not trying to get out of paying our taxes, or we're not trying to become criminals and make, multiple financial transactions on a dark web, or trying to, make deals, make millions of dollars to where that, in a way that governments don't know, or something like that. All we're trying to do is not use banks. That's it. All we want to do is just transact peer-to-peer, me and you, just like this, and go home and at the end of the day. So you tell me, why does a government need, if I'm talking to you and I have a service, you want to pay me, the only thing that we could do that with is cash right now. But we can't do that with a bank card. We can't do that with a debit card. A bank account. Can't do that with a debit card. We can't do that with a credit card right now. Can't do that with PayPal. Can't do that with Venmo. People can't do that with Cash App. They still can see our transactions. So my question is, why do they need to know that you're gonna pay me $100 digitally in Bitcoin? Since we can't be face to face, we can't be together. We can't We can't meet in person. So we can't use cash. So we have to use something else, right? So hey, let's just pay me in Bitcoin and we'll go from there. Okay, cool. Why does the government need to know that you're going to pay me $100 in Bitcoin? Why does the banks need to know that you're going to pay me in $100 worth of Bitcoin? Why? Why does that have to be on? Why do we have to make a paper trail of our transaction? That's my thing. I'm just speaking for myself because I don't know about everybody else. I don't know about any other Bitcoiners, but that is where I'm coming from. Why do y'all need to know this stuff? And don't tell me, oh, because that's just the way it is. Don't tell me that. I don't agree. I don't agree. Like when we were kids, kids get allowances. I mean, maybe it's already accounted for with the parents because they worked a job, so the government knows that you're getting paid for a job. But just think about that shit. Just think about that. If it just kind of now that I think about it, I'm literally thinking about this right now. Just think about if a kid started their own business, maybe 14, 15, 16, and they took nothing but cash, right? They took nothing but cash. And they worked their asses off for at least 10 years. 25, 26, let's just say 14 years. So get them to the age of 30, right? 14 years, they start at 16. 16, normal age to work. Everybody starts working at 16. They started a business and they took nothing but cash, a lawn mowing business, landscaping business, right? They took nothing but cash for 14 years and they made $1 million, right? And they tried to go buy a house. Why does the government need to know every single house that they landscaped for? Why does the government need to know every transaction and every time that they gave a service and their neighbors paid them in cash? You see what I'm saying? This guy and his friends, or this guy and his cousins, his family, or whatever, they worked their asses off for 14 years. You know what I'm saying? Monday through Friday. They took the weekends off. Let's you know what? How do you let's I'm here, man. We here. So let's just say what, $100 a yard? $100 a yard? I would say. Yeah, $100 a day. That's just 1 yard though. But they have contacts. They're the landscaping of their neighborhood. And maybe one city over. A city here and a city there, but they are able to be employed Monday through Friday for the next 10 years. By only doing a couple yards a day. But my thing is, let's just say $100 a day. That's $500 a week. That's $2,000 a month. 2,000 times 12, right, is 24,000. 24,000 times 14. Let me just times 14 years is $336,000. So they would have to increase their productivity by at least 6 times. So they would have to mow more lawns per day. So let's go with 2,000 times 6, so 12,000. They would need 22,000 times 12, because they got 2,000 month. So times 6, they would need 12,000. They would need 12,000. 12,000 times 12. 144. Yeah, 144,000 times 14 years equals $2 million. 16,000. $2 million. $2 million, give or take. $2,016,000. Okay, right? And that's just what's that? That's 5 times, because 2006, 2000. So that's 6 times more than what they were doing, which was a yard a day. So that's 5, yeah. So that's like 4 to 5 yards a day, give or take 10 years or 14 years. I forgot where I was going with this, but I'm just saying of how somebody could be off books for 14 years and make $1 million. And why does he need a W-2? Why do you have to audit his taxes? Like, he never paid taxes. He never had to, because he was always paid in cash. And it's just like, that's the value that that's the point that I'm trying to make. It's just, that's the value of Bitcoin. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Not even the tip of the iceberg. That's just the bottom of the iceberg. All right. So when we talk about intrinsic value and the value of being able to use money without a third party, without the government, without a bank, without anybody understanding, without anybody like looking in on our transactions, I believe that's valuable. I believe that's valuable. I don't see why anybody would disagree with that. Also, it doesn't have to be within the same bank, the same state, the same jurisdiction, the same country. You can fly to Thailand, you can fly to Japan, you can fly to Mexico, you can fly to Australia and buy the exact same asset. Bitcoin is going to be maybe a different price, give or take a couple $100, maybe, but it's going to be the same asset everywhere you go. And in that too, let's go a level even deeper. You don't have to be in the same area, the same state, the same jurisdiction, the same country to send it to somebody. And that, my people, that, my friends, is the most valuable thing that I've ever heard of in my life. I don't have to go through a bank to send you money. I don't have to pay a transaction fee to send you money. I don't have to pay a wire fee or a transaction fee or international transaction fee to send you money. Wow. How is that not valuable? How is that not valuable in and of itself? And that's, I guess, and then people could say, oh, but why would I ever need to transfer? Why would I ever need to use a wire? Why would I ever need to send money to people on the other side of the country? And and this is the thing. Now I understand now. Wow, I just answered my own question. This is why people don't understand Bitcoin. It's because they don't have the problems that it solves. Because you don't live in a third world country. You don't live in a strict country. You don't live in that totalitarian country. You don't live in a country where they monitor everything that you do. They monitor everything that you say. They monitor everything that you buy. You don't live in that country. You don't live in a country where you have to walk 2, 3, 4 miles to get clean water. You don't live in that country, do you? You don't live in that country where the infrastructure is lower than low. You don't live in that country who doesn't have a banking system. You don't live in that country that doesn't have a clearing bank, a financial system that is even remotely up to date. You don't live in that country. You don't live in that country where you have to send money through your phone, through M-Pesa, whatever they call it, M-Pesa, this third-party financial system, through your phone, where you have to have Wi-Fi. You don't live in that country. You don't live in a country where you can send money you have to send money through WhatsApp, or you have to download an app to send money through a text. You don't live in that country. And that's why you don't feel the need that Bitcoin is even relevant. So I gotta be honest. We don't live in that country. I don't live in that country either. But I understand the problem. I understand the issue. And I also understand the solution. But maybe I give a damn. Maybe it's because I care. Maybe because I want to see people win. Maybe because I have more compassion than other people. I can't know. I don't know. But the fact that you can send money without a fee internationally to whatever country that you're in through a phone using the internet with only the public key, the public address of the recipient that you want to send money to, you can do that freely. And if you're telling me that's not valuable, then I don't need to be affiliated with you. I don't want to be affiliated with you. You can click off this video, because I don't understand. You're telling me that I could be here and you can be in Finland, you can be in Costa Rica, you can be in Iceland. You can be in Iceland and you say, hey man, it's kind of tough. It's kind of, things are bad right now. You know, I'm down on my luck, or I'm just having a bad week. You know, do you have, I hate to ask, but do you have anything that you could spare? I just need some money for food, some money for gas, and somebody to turn my lights on. Oh yeah, man, sure. What's your public address? Just give me your address. Here you go. Copy paste. Bam. Send the money. Network fee. A couple dollars. $1, $2. Now network fee is different. I'm talking about the blockchain fee. That comes with every transaction. Don't like be like, oh, you just said it was no fee. I get it. The network fee that we pay the miners to verify the transactions, that's different. But I'm talking about a banking like service, a service fee, a banking fee, international fee. Those fees don't exist when you're sending people Bitcoin. You don't need to send it through it. I don't even know if you can send it to somebody through an exchange. Why would you? That doesn't make any sense. To send Bitcoin to somebody else using an exchange when you can have it yourself, or when you can send it from your own wallet. And so, like I said, if you mean to tell me that ain't valuable, then we don't need to talk. We don't have anything to talk about. We don't have anything to talk about. But that's the most valuable thing that I ever heard of in my life. Try to do that. Try to do that with cash. Try to send me cash. Try to send, like, I know it might sound fucking not ironic, but just not unethical. Why am I getting all these weird ass words? It might sound ridiculous, but why won't we send cash through the mail? Why won't we send cash in a box somewhere? Why? Because it takes time, right? Why? Because we can't trust that somebody won't open it, right? We can't trust We could trust post office to a certain extent. But if you feel that there's money inside an envelope, you put it up to the sun and you can see dollars, cash. You might not know the denominations of what is it, $5 bills, $10 bills, $100 bills, $20 bills. You might not see, but you see cash inside of it. There's only like a 50-50 chance that that person will continue to send that to send that envelope to the shipping side and not open it. You ain't got to worry about that with Bitcoin. You ain't got to worry about that with Bitcoin. Try send gold. Why aren't we sending gold? Why aren't we sending gold to each other? Try sending gold like digitally. You can't. You cannot send gold digitally. How does that even work? Yeah, you can have a third party. You can have a custodian. Oh, hey, send this much of gold to this person. Okay. Then they got to verify it. Then that person's custodian has to verify that that specific gold is real, or they have to figure out where they can keep the gold, because you're not going to send it physically. You're sending it from an exchange or from a custodian, and they gotta find out if they have, like, if they don't have as much gold as you, or if you want to send your whole stack, like, they gotta borrow from somewhere else, or they gotta verify that the company has that much gold. I just feel like that's a hassle. But at the end of the day, the point is, I know you guys get it. We get it. You can't send gold digitally. You can't send gold digitally. You can't. So what else could you use? What else could you use? So Sam, you can't send stocks. You can't transfer stocks to somebody for a payment. That doesn't make any sense. So why do we invest in stocks? Why do we invest in stocks? Oh, we're leaving the company. Okay. What if the manager, the CEO, the owner of the company dies? That stock price will go down. We already know this. That stock price will go down. But where's the value in that? Where's the value? Well, I'm still trying to compare it to Bitcoin's value, intrinsic value that Bitcoin does not have, supposedly. Yet everything that we invest in doesn't seem like it has that much value either, does it? Real estate. Let's send a house to somebody. Multiple people have multiple profiles or multiple assets, multiple homes that they buy, rent out, whatever. But some of them have homes that are not occupied, that they don't use, that they just have it on their on their balance sheet. They just have it on their portfolio. Portfolio. So multiple houses, nobody's in there. Send a house. Send a house somehow, digitally. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I know I don't want to sound like I'm being facetious or that I'm trying to be condescending, but it just doesn't seem like intrinsic value really means anything when we're talking about transferring money, when we're talking about transferring wealth, when we're talking about something where no government, no third party, no banks, no politicians can see or know what you're transacting. How is that not valuable? I just, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm just thinking of a time that, oh, they won't let that happen. Because that's another thing. A lot of people say, yeah, it's a good thing now. It has its time, but at the end of the day, the government or the powers that be are not going to let you transact with Bitcoin, or they're not going to adopt it for you to just transact in it. Well, when we come to that bridge, we'll cross it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can say to that. I can't sit up here and say, oh, yes, they will, or they eventually have to. Because I don't know. We don't know for sure. So I can't. I'm not gonna argue with that. So, but can they shut it down? No. Can they take control of it? No. Can they sabotage it? Maybe. Can they manipulate it? Yeah, a little bit. Will it ever go away? I don't see how. No. Just as long as people continue to transaction it, as long as people continue to hold it, as long as people keep losing their coins, as long as the lost coins don't go anywhere, how is it going to go back to zero? So I might be beating a dead horse. Don't want to sound like I'm going on a tangent or anything like that, but I just couldn't. That intrinsic value excuse just doesn't sit well with me. It's not a valid excuse to me. It's not a valid reason for you not to at least study Bitcoin, at least look into it. It just, that's not a valid reason. That it just doesn't have an intrinsic value, so I can't invest in it, or I can't buy it. It doesn't have any intrinsic value. What has intrinsic value? Really, I think that's where I was going when I brought up the V shots. What has intrinsic value? Because if I'm not mistaken, some of them V shots, well, not some, I'm gonna say at least half of them V shots actually killed people, actually made things worse. So that's intrinsic value. That's valuable. That's valuable. Oh, okay. I don't know. I think that's where I was going with that. It's just like, what has intrinsic value? If so, it's only what we say has intrinsic value. If you really think about it, 2020 really divided us. It really did. It really did. People who got it, people who didn't get it. Like, and in the middle of all that, Falsey and whoever his comrades are, his friends, and all his colleagues made money off of it. But nobody talks about it. I mean, maybe some people do. Maybe some people do. But look at the value that they created for themselves. But yet you're talking about Bitcoin as having an intrinsic value, and it's not even a physical person or a physical thing. It's a part of something that you use every day. It's a part of something that we use every day. The internet. How much money will businesses lose if the internet goes down for a day? Like, it would be catastrophic, wouldn't it? Almost like another 2008 financial crisis if the internet went down. Correct? So obviously that's not going to happen, right? We're not going to let the internet go down because that's something that we need every day. That's something that we need to live on. So this concept, this theory, this story about, oh, but if the internet goes down, Bitcoin won't be valuable. It won't be valuable either. I'm just like, how in the world will the internet go down? Like, outside of a solar flare, okay, and we're just not gonna reboot it. We're not gonna use it again. We're just gonna be like, internet's down, so we can't ever use it again. We can't ever rebuild our satellites. We can't ever rebuild our towers. We can't never rebuild our data centers because it just all got fried. We're just not going to use the internet anymore. Back to the gold standard, back to the, you know what I'm saying, the golden age, like the bartering system. I don't get that theory, that concept. And I just think people just come up with excuses just because they don't have anything else to say. They just don't have anything else to say. So, in that, man, I'm going to get up out of here. I guess I'm just saying the same things over and over, but I'm just saying, if y'all out there, if you get to this point in the video, and you're researching Bitcoin, you're thinking about it, and you come across some people and they say, oh, but it has no intrinsic value, so you don't have to invest in it, or you don't have to buy it. Come on, guys. We could do better than that. Come up, give me. I'm still waiting. I am still waiting for the person to come up with a good enough answer or a reason that Bitcoin won't work. I still haven't heard it. All they can keep saying is Bitcoin is just going zero. It's going zero. It's going zero. And there's one thing that again, if you come to this part of the video, if you're still with me, when you do hear these reasons, when you do hear these excuses, don't even fact check the person, or don't fact check what they say. Fact check who they are. But also, how are they saying this? Because everybody I've come in contact with, every person I've come in contact with, they're always pissed off at Bitcoin. They're always mad at Bitcoin. Like, they never say it with a smile on their face. They never say it with a cool demeanor, a cool, calm demeanor. They never say, well, I've been in finance for a long time, and Bitcoin just doesn't do it for me. Maybe it'll do it for you. They never have an understanding demeanor. It's never that way. It's always, oh, Bitcoin's going to zero. Oh, how can you be so stupid? How can people be so stupid? I don't understand. Bitcoin's going to zero. Bitcoin's going to zero. And it's always like, come on, guys. It has no intrinsic value. Like, you think this, just because some people come together and put their money into a concept or a conspiracy theory, that it's going to work? Come on, guys. You gotta be more smart than that. Bitcoin doesn't have any intrinsic value. It's always a them versus Bitcoin thing. It's always a competition, or they always have this personal attack on it. It's always that way. So if you can find a video, or if you can find a person, or you can show me someone who doesn't have that kind of negative energy in them, and they're not trying to break it down, or they're not trying to, talk bad about Bitcoin, they're not trying to make you feel stupid, or they're not trying to just be, I guess, condescending in a way, and they're not trying to fight Bitcoin, please send it to me, because I have yet to find someone who's like legitimately even kilter, just neutral about the situation when asked, oh, why Bitcoin, or why not Bitcoin, and they just sit and say, without any malice, I think that's the perfect word, without any malice in their viewpoint, or any malice in their voice, to sit there and say, yeah, I've invested in it, or I bought it here and there, but at the end of the day, I just didn't see any value in it. It's not my thing. I like this, or I like this. I like stocks, or I like this, or I like AI. I put my bets in something else. It's never like that. It's always mean. It's always negative. It's always they're trying to fight Bitcoin for no apparent reason, but to get people to feel like they're being stupid if they bought it, or to get people to feel like you're being stupid, and to believe in the traditional system that we already have. And last point I will say, the last thing I will say, right, is I'm not one of those guys, or Bitcoiners, you could say, I'm not one of those Bitcoiners that will sit here and preach to people that Bitcoin is going to replace the financial system. To me, if that happens, it's great. That will be perfect. That will be great for everybody. Well, not everybody, because the only people that would actually benefit from that is actually people who got in early. So then there would still be this unfair balance. There will still be the have and have-nots. There will still be people who are the rich poor divide. unfortunately, that Bitcoin can't fix that. Bitcoin can't fix that. That's why I say I don't really preach that, and I can't say that it won't happen, but I don't believe people. I don't believe us Bitcoiners will create a way for that to, like, how do I say this? So, because a lot of people do believe, a lot of Bitcoiners do believe that, hey, it's going to replace money. It's just going to be the new financial system. For me, because I guess it's only right, or it just makes sense. And I feel like when it comes down to it, the people who are already in power, the multimillionaire, billionaire, I'm not multimillionaire, the billionaires and the trillionaires of the world, they will come to a compromise. They will come to a compromise. I don't know what the compromise is specifically, because they'll know, they'll see, oh damn, these Bitcoiners, they got millions and millions of dollars. Like, Bitcoin is $10 million. Bitcoin is at $100 million. Bitcoin is at $500 million. Oh, wait. They're coming up to my net worth. They about to become billionaires. At that point, they ain't stupid. So I guess the best scenario I can say that I do believe would happen, rather than it becoming the world reserve currency, is that those billionaires and trillionaires will say, hey, I'll give you $1 billion for your Bitcoin. Even if it's at 500 million, they will give you $1 billion for your Bitcoin right now. If you give me your Bitcoin right now. And that is the only way that Bitcoin would actually, I can't say die, but they would change the culture of Bitcoin. Because then, that's how they know, that's how they know of a way, or that's how they know that they can change the environment, that they can change the culture, that they can change the narrative behind Bitcoin. Because nobody's going to know every Bitcoin, every person who has one Bitcoin. Nobody's going to know every single Bitcoiner. That's my point. But it's going to be like a reward for turning in a criminal on the run. It's going to be like, they're going to post it everywhere, wanted, but it's going to be Bitcoin instead of a person, or instead of a criminal, right? Wanted, but your Bitcoin. $1 billion. $1 billion. So even though it's at 500 million, even though it's at 700 million, it'll be close to the $1 billion, but $1 billion worth. But they will give you more for it than it's actually worth. And that's the psyop that we have to be privy to. That's the psyop that we have to be aware of. Because in that moment, I know people are going to sell. People are going to give up their Bitcoin. There's no other time that there's nothing else that you can do to change the narrative behind Bitcoin. There's nothing else that you can do. You have to offer something that's more valuable than what it actually is. And that's a world, or that's not even a world, because that's only going to happen like for 6 months. It's just going to be a moment in time where people are going to be like, oh my God, you got $1 billion, you sold your Bitcoin for $1 billion, oh my God. But then also, we got to realize how valuable will the US dollar be? How valuable will $1 billion be at that time? We got to realize, how valuable will one Bitcoin or $1 billion be at that time? What's it worth? What can you buy with $1 billion at that time? Because we ain't forgot about inflation. We ain't forgot about debasement. We never forgot about supply and demand. You know what I'm saying? We ain't forget about the population increase is this, how many people are on Earth at that time? How many people are on Earth at that moment? Will we be using AI? How far will AI come along in that during those times? Are we all on a UBI? Are we all on a universal basic income? Is AI doing all the jobs? Is AI making everything cheaper? How valuable is $1 billion worth at that time? To even give up the Bitcoin for that's only worth 500 mil. This is a lot to think about. So I don't, and that's the only way that I feel like that they can stop Bitcoin, or just not have it break the money system, or not have it replace the money system, because they will give you more money than it's worth, and that way they control the narrative now. They can say, yeah, the top 1% has all the Bitcoin, all 21 million of it, and it will never be sold again. And then, hey, we'll be transacting with CBDC, we'll be transacting with a digital Fed coin or whatever they have for us. You know what I'm saying? I know there's going to probably be that one guy that say, nah, fuck it. Or like Michael Saylor, I would say, me, maybe British HODL, maybe American HODL, and just off the top of my head, maybe Corey Clemson. There's a couple of us that will say fuck you. There is. But the thing is, we're not going to be around to even, for y'all to even know that is my point. Like, y'all not going to know how much Bitcoin we have. Y'all not going to know where we are. But we're not going to come to the bank, or we're not going to come to the Federal Reserve, or we're not going to go to the meetups, or we're not going to go to the auctions and say, I got a Bitcoin. And people go, yeah, you're about to be a billionaire. You're about to be a billionaire. Here's my Bitcoin. $1 billion. Here you go, sir. We're not going to show up to that. We're not going to be there. So that's that. We'll just be like a rarity. It'll be rare to even, like, if somebody would say, you know what I'm saying, and if you're in line at the at the store, or maybe a restaurant, and then somebody pulls out their phone and say, hey, do you guys take Bitcoin? Everybody can be like, what the fuck? He got Bitcoin? Oh shit. And just think about the security of that, or the privacy of that, and the threat, the security threat and the privacy threat of that. If you say that, they're gonna be like, oh shit, he got Bitcoin. Everybody's gonna fucking try to kill you for that shit. Everybody's gonna try to kidnap you for that shit. And that's what I mean. It's like, why even give up your privacy to pay for something in Bitcoin at that point, at that time? It's not worth your safety. It's not worth the safety. So once they do that, then Bitcoin will die, because nobody will want to transact with it. Even if they did want to transact with it, transact with it, they can't, because it's too valuable and people will try to kill you for it. Now online is different. You know what I'm saying? Online is different. You pay for things and shit. That would be cool. That's the only way that we'll be able to transact. But as far as in person, it doesn't. No. The billionaires and the trillionaires will overtake Bitcoin. They will take over. And so once Bitcoin is within the 1% of all hands, those only 1% are going to be transaction in Bitcoin, and it won't become the global currency like we want it to be. And that's why I say what I say, because it'll only be concentrated in a 1% of people. So it'll be like a thing of the past. Like, yeah, you could check the price. $1 billion, $2 billion, $100 billion. Like, but who will have Bitcoin at that time? Who will actually have it? They will be changing the narrative. And we'll be using either dollars, a digital version of a dollar, or something else. Something else entirely that they come up with. Depending on the value, depending on who's president, depending on the atmosphere, and then depending on who we are as people. What are we using? AI, technology, humanoids, half AI, half human. Like, I don't know. Nobody can predict where this world is going. All I'm saying is I can't support the Bitcoin will replace the global reserve currency idea. I won't say that. I can't say that. Because there's too many people out here that will trade their Bitcoin for actual money, for actual life-changing money. And I can't blame them for that. And I won't blame them for that. If somebody offered me $1 million, like, I already have my price. $1 million is not enough. I'm not going to trade. Bitcoin's at 95K right now, whatever it is. Somebody offered me $1 million, give me a Bitcoin? No. For what? No. $1 million is a house. 100 million. Somebody come here and offer me, hey, I'll give you 100 million for your Bitcoin. I'll think about it, but I'll be like, See, the thing is, I can buy more. You can buy more. So it's an interesting hypothetical. It really is. Because you can buy more Bitcoin with the money that you sell it for, if people are willing to give you $1 million for $100,000 asset. You can just buy 5, 6, 7 when you get the mill, and just keep 300K for savings or whatever you want to do with it. But I guess it's like, why is that person paying me $1 million for my $100,000 asset? Why is that person paying me $100 million for my $95,000? I mean, not $95,000. Let's just say Bitcoin's at $1 million. And then somebody come to me and say, "I give you $100 million for your Bitcoin right now." Why is he so adamant about giving me $100 million when my Bitcoin's only worth $1 million? So that kind of made me think, like, wait, I'm missing something here. He's got to know something that I don't know. So, think about that shit. Somebody's giving you $100 million for something that's worth $1 million? Maybe, let's just say 10 million. Let's just say Bitcoin's at 10 million. Okay, I promise I'll leave y'all alone after this. Let's just go with Bitcoin. It was at its all-time high, was 125, 126. Let's just say 125. Bitcoin's at 95, 94, 96, 97, whatever. Round number. Let's just use round numbers. Bitcoin's at 100K right now. Okay. If somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I will give you 150,000 for your Bitcoin," and Bitcoin's at 100K, that's not worth it. That doesn't make any sense to me. Even though I can buy in, I'm just like, but why? Even if just a 50K difference, but why are you willing to give me more than what it's worth? So you have to know something that I don't know, or you might see something that's coming that I don't know about that's coming. So it's just like, because it's got to be like very, very time sensitive. Like, the offer has to be out there, and then within 24 hours, that price of Bitcoin has to skyrocket to at least 200, 225 for it to make sense. Because if I sell it, I'm like, okay, I'll buy it back in tomorrow, or I'll buy back in after. And this is another thing. The money is not going to hit my bank account right away. And the money is not going to hit my bank account right away. Think about that. Even if you sell it on the exchange, they have to do this 2 to 3 business days. So you get it on the exchange, but you transfer it to your bank account. It takes 2 to 3 days for them to transfer it to your bank account, right? So you got a 72-hour window where you cannot buy Bitcoin again. You can't buy Bitcoin yet, I guess. If you have other stash, cool. If you have other savings, great. But if you sold it at 100K to get 150K on Monday, you have to wait till at least Thursday to buy back in, right? Worst case Friday. The earliest is Thursday. Worst case Friday, 2 or 3 days, whatever. You bought it Monday. You sold it Monday. You have to wait till Friday to buy Bitcoin. And you mean to tell me you don't think Bitcoin will skyrocket on Friday, by Friday? So it was at 100K, now it's at 200, 225. But by the time you look, you're like, God dang, I sold it for 100K. Now I can't even get my whole Bitcoin again. So let me stop, man. Let me get out of here. I'm going on a tangent. I'm just talking about stuff y'all just it's okay. Y'all don't. I mean, if you care, you care. If you don't, you don't. It's neither here nor there. But that's my basis. That's my mentality. That's where I'm coming from. I hope y'all can understand that. But it's been fun. It's been nice. I hope this is valuable to somebody. I hope maybe you can just put it on in the background. Like I said, I'm not gonna say when I'll be back or what days I'm gonna post, but I'll come on from time to time. As of right now, every Tuesday at 6. If y'all can look out for that, I'll continue to do that and let y'all know what's going on or how it is or what it feels like to be in Bitcoin. So anyway, I think that's it, man. I'm just rambling at this point. I hope y'all understand, but that's my thing. I just really hope y'all can understand Bitcoin's value, the real value of a Bitcoin, and everything that it comes with. You know? So, hey man, it's the future. We all know that. And just think. The banking system, every other system has been updated, but the banking system has yet to be updated for the last, we use it for the last 120, 130, 140, 150 years. And it hasn't been updated once. It has not been updated once. Alright, so we'll see when that happens. We'll see what needs to happen for that to happen. I'm pretty sure that there needs a couple things to happen before, Congress and the president and, the Fed decides to put everything digital and decides to make things a little bit easier. Because that's all they're doing. It's hard because they make money off of it. And it's the way that it is because it makes money. They make money off of it. So, yeah, I mean, there are other ways. And we know that everything don't stay the same. As much as things change, they remain the same. But there's only two constants in life. That's change and change. So, it can't be this way forever. So you make your bet on what you think is going to be the new normal, the new financial system. When everything becomes digital, when you can't go to the ATM and take your money out. Just think about what kind of world we will be in. Just think about who you would have to do, who will be transacting, how will we be transacting in times where we can't go to a bank and take out physical cash. That's all I want y'all to do. That's all I want you to know. That's all I want you to see. Yeah, but you gotta understand. You gotta understand money in that regard. So I've talked long enough. I've said that already, but y'all be good out there, man. This financial system is gonna be updated one day. I just hope you're going to be ready for it. All right? Be ready for it. So, all right, y'all. I will see y'all next week. If I decide to upload, I probably will. So, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but if you want, please subscribe, please like, and please share if y'all think this will be good for somebody that you know. So, all right, y'all. I'll see y'all next time.